I'm muted. Hey guys, it's Tim and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited as we are here on the 22nd of November 2020 to talk about everything that went down tonight at WWE Survivor Series. We've also got Joel Pearl with us tonight of the Tim and Joel Call It in the Ring podcast. I flubbed that one a little bit. But Joel, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. Honestly, this show was a lot of fun. It had a lot of really cool elements, but I'll be perfectly honest, best of the best doesn't always do it for me for brand supremacy.
Oh yeah, no. With, as you stated earlier to me, with nothing on the line, it's like, what are they fighting for? Brand loyalty? I mean, if you really look at it, there are guys that were not loyal to their brand because Big E's a SmackDown guy, but came out with Raw Tag Team Champions. So it's like, what are they even fighting for tonight? It makes no sense to me.
Gears of War money.
Gears of War money.
Anyways. They released a whole new merch line.
I mean, have they released Gears of War T-shirts with New Day?
Oh yeah, they did a whole merch line on WWE Shop.
Okay, see, I didn't see that. I just downloaded the DLC for the game. I was like, I'll try this out. I get it with Game Pass. Why not? But with that, we've got Survivor Series, and I want to thank you guys for joining us here, twitch.tv/PW Unlimited. We're also on YouTube, youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Remember, if you are here with us on Twitch, you can help us out as we are raising money for families in need that have been displaced by the Creek Fire here in Central California. You can either hit that donate button down below, you can donate Twitch bits, or you can subscribe to the channel one of two ways, either with a Twitch tiered subscription or with your Amazon Prime, because if you have Amazon Prime, then you have a Prime Gaming subscription, no extra cost to you that you have, that you can subscribe to any Twitch channel you want, and we would greatly appreciate it if you use that subscription to subscribe to us here at Pro Wrestling Unlimited. But with that, we're here to talk about Survivor Series, a show that, in my opinion, I mean, I'll give it a positive as far as at least to me, and I'll ask you this question if you feel the same or not. It didn't feel like it dragged, and it didn't feel like extra long or anything to me. How about you?
Yeah, it didn't drag. It was one of those shows that just kind of existed.
Right.
And that's kind of the Survivor Series mentality right now, where we had the brand split, and suddenly everyone has to care about where they are after being on a new show for a month. And then we're going to move along and go back to TLC, and then it's going to be WrestleMania belt, which is going to be great. But for now, it's that little moment where people are like, what's the point? What are we doing here?
Exactly. It's like you got Braun Strowman and Sheamus, for example, who were on Team Raw. But what, a month and a half ago, they were SmackDown guys? All of a sudden, we're loyal to Raw. Like, okay. That shows right there that the brands don't matter. And especially, and I'm going to go back to SmackDown, for instance, on Friday. We had the New Day wrestling in a match. In that match, Michael Cole said, don't forget Survivor Series is this weekend, the only time when Raw and SmackDown superstars wrestle each other. During a match where Raw guys were wrestling SmackDown guys. I'm like, Michael Cole, you have to know that doesn't make sense, but you're being told to say it.
Yeah, it's one of those times where it's like the words are leaving his mouth and he's just like, oh no, I can't take it back.
Right.
But again, it was really interesting because you have the entire men's Raw team. They're all former SmackDown picks except for Keith Lee, who had just shown up 2 months earlier from NXT onto Raw.
I didn't even think about that. Like, the only ones that stood out to me were Strowman and Sheamus, like I stated, but I didn't even think about that.
Keith Lee even talked about it today in an interview with the WWE on Espanol. I don't speak Spanish, but I just happened to tune in, and he was given an English language interview, and he said it. He was like, everyone else was on SmackDown except for me. I'm an OG, and I'm like, and he's like, I wasn't even 2 months ago. So everyone kind of knew that it was just not thrown together, but it was a little awkward.
I didn't even think about it like that. You're right. But with that, the show technically kicked off on the pre-show. Did you watch any of the kickoff show?
Oh, you bet. All of it.
So you saw when the kickoff panel didn't even know what was happening tonight. Charlie Caruso called the match between the New Day and the Street Profits a tag team championship match. And then Booker T was talking about the U.S. title versus the IC title and go, Bobby Lashley tonight looking to walk out a double champion. I was like, what? A double champion? When was that made?
Went off and said something like, when I flipped over from WCW, I brought the United States and the world championship with me. And I'm like, what? But why?
I mean,
Why do you need to get yourself over?
I don't know. It was just weird. But we did have a dual-branded Battle Royal on the kickoff show. And my question, since this match had been announced, is can Raw guys wrestle Raw guys, or is that just going to be whatever? And they can, because the final two guys, well, actually, the final four had a couple Raw guys that were fighting each other, whatever. But there's not much to really talk about here other than Rey Mysterio was eliminated way earlier than I expected. And then the finals came down to a great sequence with Chad Gable and Dominic Mysterio. Those two guys working together was phenomenal. And eventually, I mean, there was a spot where basically Chad Gable made his own version of the Three Amigos. It was two belly-to-belly suplexes that he never let go of, and then he transitioned it straight into a German. But finally, Dominic was able to get the advantage and eliminate him after hitting a 619. But The Miz apparently was never legally eliminated, so he slipped back in and eliminated Dominic.
So,
go for it.
If I may, I found it really strange that they did the Miz goes out underneath the bottom rope, and they made it very clear that he was underneath the bottom rope. Didn't matter. He's not eliminated. They even made reference to it on commentary. And then you had Gable and Dominic go and have a banger of a couple of minutes just going back and forth, really showing off Dominic and Chad Gable. We already knew Chad Gable was an excellent wrestler, but showing off that Dominic Mysterio can keep up. But the only problem was, if you're paying attention, you knew that the Miz was just going to come in and eliminate whoever was left between the two. So it made it really awkward, which the pre-show was full of awkward moments. We'll get to the gobbledygooker in a minute.
Right. And like you said, they made point to tell us that Miz never got eliminated. They went a step further to show Miz go over the top rope, roll back into the ring under the bottom rope, and then get kicked out under the bottom rope. Like, they convoluted it 3 different ways.
Yeah. Drew so much attention to it.
Yeah. But like you said, there was more that happened on the pre-show, like the gobbledygooker showing up with R-Truth, because R-Truth thought that we were celebrating the 30th anniversary of the gobbledygooker. And, well, gobbledygooker ended up pinning him for the 24/7 title after Tozawa showed up. And my question is, was that legal? Since that was a ninja referee, was that a legal ninja referee?
He's wearing the shirt. It's got to count.
I mean, if who was it? Candice Michelle? Or was it Melina that wore the referee at Raw 25? It was Melina.
Oh, you're right.
Melina?
Yeah, I think
no. Melina wore the shirt for Candice Michelle as she counted the pin. That's what it was. I knew it was both of them somehow. So I guess anybody, as long as you get a ref shirt, you can be a referee. But gobbledygooker ran off, lost one of his feet, and kept on running. Who do you think was under there? I think it was Gulak.
Oh, I didn't even think about who was under there. I just kind of watched it happen and said I couldn't even start telling you who it was.
Because I've always felt that Gulak's voice and Daniel Bryan's voice sound a little similar, and I forget what he's actually said, but gobbledygooker said something, and I'm like, kind of sounds like Daniel Bryan, but I know that's not going to be Daniel Bryan. It's probably Gulak. I mean, Gulak's been in the 24/7 stuff anyways.
Yeah, it would make perfect sense.
I was really waiting for, like, it would, gobbledygooker gets the belt, he gets tripped, the head comes off, and it is Gulak or somebody. I thought they were going to do something like that, but instead, the foot fell off. He grabbed the foot and kept on running.
Yeah. And the camera just kind of kept it a little too long on the shot, because
that was weird.
R-Truth and everyone catching up to him, and suddenly puts his arm around him, and you're just wondering, the camera guy, why isn't the director getting away from the shot and just resetting back to the panel? It was very awkward.
Right.
And if I can go back to the Battle Royal for a second,
go for it.
I put this out on Twitter. There was a lot of guys looking at the floor as if it was hot lava tonight. I really want to start a petition. Yeah, we're going to start a petition. We're going to change it from a battle royal to the floor is lava contest.
But with that, as the kickoff show, wound down, I think there was a thing with Billie Kay trying to give a resume to Corbin. I don't know what they're doing with Billie Kay. This is, I think, the second time we've seen this. She tried giving her resume to Street Profits a few weeks ago, and they were uninterested. Just like Corbin, he was uninterested. So I don't know if, like, Billie Kay thinks she needs to interview for a job on SmackDown or something, but whatever. She's funny at times, so I'll give her that.
She did something on socials, I think it was on TikTok, where every wrestler was doing a tribute to the Undertaker, doing like the sit up and the rest in peace. She sits up and she turns around, she smiles, and she pulls up the piece of paper with her headshot and resume. and tries to sell everyone. I'm picking her up as talent. It's funny. Billie Kay is hilarious, and she can be an amazing comedy actor and wrestler. They need to give her the shot. She's really funny, and she's super sweet. She's made for the role.
Oh, yeah. But as we move forward, Michael Cole, Corey Graves, and Samoa Joe were on commentary for the first matches. It was the 5-on-5 men's elimination match. And in this match, it was Raw versus SmackDown. Representing Raw was AJ Styles, Riddle, Keith Lee, Braun Strowman, and Sheamus. Representing SmackDown was Jey Uso, Kevin Owens, Otis, Seth Rollins, and Baron Corbin. And what the fuck was Seth Rollins thinking here? Maybe like, I get vacation. How about I just take my vacation even quicker by getting myself eliminated by Sheamus right off the bat? What was that all about? It was just like, he's like, I got to do what's right for the greater good. So does the greater good mean knocking himself out?
The greater good is not having to touch Matt Riddle, as he made reference to a couple of months ago on a WWE watch along.
Oh yeah, he did not want to work with Matt Riddle.
Yeah, he was point blank asked, would you work with Matt Riddle? And he said, I would never work with Matt Riddle. And this was his out. The greater good was him never having to tag in and accidentally being the ring with Matt Riddle. Congratulations, Seth Rollins. You're going to be a wonderful daddy.
Actually, I forgot. You're a music guy, so I got to rewind a couple moments. What do you think of Keith Lee's new theme?
I think it's fine. I mean, listen, nothing's going to be as good as the one he had in NXT. Right. It's 90s rapper Lee, and it's still fun. It's a good theme. I'm not too worried about it, and things can be tweaked as it gets more feedback.
Yeah, I thought it sounded really cool. Again, like I loved his theme in NXT, but if they can't use it, it's better than what they were using the last month and a half, 2 months.
Yeah, totally.
But as we stated, as we went forward, the first 6 minutes of this match, not much really happened until Seth Rollins was eliminated by Sheamus. And then we go another 6 minutes where not much happens, and AJ Styles eliminates Kevin Owens. And it's just like, okay, cool. We got 2 guys from SmackDown eliminated. What's going to happen here? And Owens, like I said, was eliminated by AJ Styles. And where was Corbin almost gets eliminated by Styles as well, but he was saved by his teammates. Riddle then, just eliminates Corbin with a floating bro. Otis then comes in, and Keith Lee then comes in, and we get the 2 big boys, and everyone gets excited, and not much really happened. I felt like they could have done so much more with Keith Lee and Otis in the ring at the same time. Then they had Strowman in there with Otis as well. Otis gave Strowman a power slam, which was very impressive. He then did the caterpillar elbow, but Riddle distracted him, and Strowman nailed him with the power slam to eliminate Otis. Jey Uso, that is, was the only man left for Team SmackDown, and I'm at this point I go, okay, SmackDown's not going to win, but maybe Jey can eliminate 1 or 2 people. They're fighting on the outside after he took everybody out with super kicks, and he hit a dive as well. Uso then super kicked Styles and went for a dive, but Omos, is that what they call him, Omos? Or is it Omos?
Yeah.
Okay, Omos. Omos pulled Styles out of the ring, which should have been a disqualification, but it wasn't. Uso then super kicked Styles off the top rope. Lee blind tagged himself in, but Uso didn't notice this. Uso then went for the splash, but Lee caught him and hit him with a spirit bomb to pick up the victory. So Keith Lee gets the final pin on Jey Uso, and Team Raw takes the cake. No eliminations for Team Raw as well, as far as no one on Team Raw getting eliminated. Very interesting move there.
Yeah, it was. In our picks for PW Unlimited, Tim and I, my co-host for Tim and Joel Call It in the Ring, we said that, I said, because Tim said it was going to be Team SmackDown with the win, and I said it was going to be Team Raw, but I actually said that AJ Styles would be the sole survivor. I did not expect there to be a full Team Raw standing victorious at the end of the night. A couple of stats that I came across from this, which made me laugh. The average age of Team Raw is 38.4. The average age of Team SmackDown was 33.8. Otis was the youngest member of Team SmackDown at 28. And then Rollins and Riddle are 34. AJ Styles, the oldest one, at 43. Sheamus is 42. It's pretty nuts. And also with The Miz winning the Battle Royal earlier, I was dead set, no Money in the Bank. Michael Cole made a reference to Money in the Bank when Sheamus came out, talked about how when Sheamus came back in 2015, took out Roman after he won the title with Money in the Bank. So at that point, I'm like, it's too heavy. We're not doing it. But they're starting to get you thinking that Money in the Bank is somewhere in the background of Raw.
Right. And I mean, they kind of, with the way, and we'll get to it later, but the way that Roman Reigns Drew McIntyre match ended, was kind of made perfect for Miz to try and come down and cash in or anything. But again, we'll get to that when we get to that. But it's just like, what were they thinking of just sweeping Team SmackDown? Not even giving them one pin. Like, it would have been okay if they pinned like anybody on that team. Even AJ. Like, AJ's going for a high fly move. He gets caught. And like really, the almost thing should have been the DQ. Should have got AJ eliminated from DQ. And then you could have at least said, well, technically one guy from Raw was eliminated, even though nobody from SmackDown eliminated him. But I don't know. It was a very weird booking for me. And you said, you thought maybe AJ would be the sole survivor. But with, them doing that in the women's match, they weren't going to do that in two different ones. And I really didn't think, when we'll get to the hit, again, another thing we're skipping ahead to, I didn't think they were going to really do the Lana sole survivor thing since it was too predictable, but they went with it.
Oh, that was coming. I knew it from the second it started. We'll
Right.
get into that, I know. But you know what? I was imagining Otis taking a Styles Clash. I know it's like physically
that would have
impossible.
been a sight for sore eyes. That would have been crazy to see.
And yeah, KO getting eliminated so he can quarantine in time for NXT on Wednesday. That was another thing for him. But yeah, overall, the match was fine. The reason why it was so lopsided, honestly, is because if you watch the TV shows from the last few weeks when they even got the teams together, it was always heavily Team Raw ensemble cast doing their promo segments and all that, and then having matches. And then Team SmackDown was already doing their own thing, so nothing mattered for Team SmackDown. I said on Twitter again that 3 out of 4 of the teams were talking about who is the actual captain of the team, and then there was Team SmackDown just there, just existing.
I mean, Jey Uso honestly didn't care because he was dealing with Daniel Bryan on Friday. So it's like they didn't even try to, hey, we're all on the same team. Let's at least try to strategize before, whatever. But going forward, we did have the Raw Tag Team Champions, the New Day, taking on the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Street Profits. And, well, Big E has no brand loyalty to Friday Night SmackDown as he came out with his buddies. They looked cool dressed up in their Gears of War. Or no, not Gears of War. Gears 5 gear. Gears 5 gear. I thought that was really cool. They plugged the video game. They played the trailer. I haven't played it yet, though. I downloaded it. It's installed. Haven't played it. But I thought the match was fun. It went almost 15 minutes. But there was nothing. Literally, I felt there was not one thing in this match that stood out to be like, oh, man, people need to go back and watch this match. It was kind of like, okay, those guys work amazing together. That was about it.
Yeah, it was the kind of match where you were expecting this to be held off for something like WrestleMania with higher stakes, or just somewhere where there would actually be a tag team title on the line, or even, I don't know, you could consolidate the tag team titles and then have tag teams fluid for Raw and SmackDown. The champions can float between brands. No, we're not doing that. It was just a random tag team champion versus champion match. Right. The Gears 5 cosplay, like you said, it was really cool. It was really cute. The promo afterwards was, but they gave the New Day a lot of time in between them coming out with the Gears cosplay and them getting it off.
Yes.
That I can only think that it was like, it takes a lot to get in and out of that stuff. It was big, boxy stuff. Montez Ford yells a lot. That's
true. But like with these 4 guys, I expected like there'd be some big crazy move or two where you go, holy crap, that's a clip you got to put on Twitter. But there was really nothing that was like clip worthy from this match, and this was the match that I thought there was going to be some crazy move from Montez Ford or some crazy move from Kofi Kingston, and nothing really. Like that blockbuster electric chair thing at the end was kind of cool, but I've seen it before.
Yeah, the only thing that people are really talking about was that move that Dawkins pulled out, that underhook spinning neck breaker.
Yes.
Other than that, though, I mean, the story was pretty much like, the New Day are the veterans. They're doing what works for them, and then they're getting the best of the rookie Street Profits, and then the Street Profits are coming out with new and innovative offense like the New Day used to, and then eventually getting the win with a new finisher for them, at least. They've never done that double blockbuster, I don't think.
I mean, if anything stood out to me in this match, it was Xavier Woods just jamming to the Street Profits theme during their entrance. He was just going, and Kofi's like trying to dance with him in the back, and finally was like, Woods, I'll just let you take it.
Yep.
But a quick recap
and the camera cuts.
Right. But a quick recap of this match. Street Profits were in control early until Kofi Kingston wiped out Ford with a dive, and New Day took over from there. Kingston mocked them by drinking out of an empty Solo cup before kicking it away. Ford gave Kingston a DDT before tagging in Dawkins, who handed out some suplexes to both opponents. Street Profits double-teamed Woods and then the attack included Ford doing a sliced bread on Dawkins' body. New Day followed this up with the Midnight Hour on Ford, and the commentary actually had a cool little thing here when there was a kick out, but they go, maybe the Midnight Hour didn't work as well because Big E wasn't the one in there with his extra power getting it done. I liked that. I liked that line a lot. Kingston then gave Ford 3 consecutive boom drops, but Ford followed with a drop kick. Finish of the match saw the Street Profits finish it off with Kofi Kingston in an electric chair drop position. Montez Ford did a blockbuster off the top rope and pinned him. All 4 guys then embraced after the match, and we could see that it was just a friendly competition against 4 guys that do actually respect each other, which I like that dynamic because a lot of times at Survivor Series, it's just like they get the match done and it's over with. But I like that they were like, hey, it's cool. We lost, but we lost to a team that we respect. So I really, really did enjoy that aspect of it.
Yeah, overall the match was exactly as it was going to be, and we talked about it, and I have that note too about the Midnight Hour not being as powerful without Big E involved,
Right.
and that was a really good note from commentary. You're right. You know what I really wanted to see? I wanted to see the Street Profits be presented with blue Solo cups.
I thought the
by
exact
New
same
Day
thing
after winning.
Yes,
Would have been perfect. But you know what? They can't find enough blue Solo cups to fill whatever they need to fill.
yes. When they came out in the white and blue, and then the cups shot out in red, I was like, oh, missed opportunity.
Yeah, that was going to be the moment, but instead, when you saw Tez with his big blue cup,
Right.
I was like, "Oh, they're finally making the switch."
Mhm.
Then they blasted out the red cups, and I just said,
I mean,
"Ugh."
NXT, they had the golden black cups.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. Maybe they just haven't found them yet in Orlando. Everyone's
Yeah, I was joking. Publix
Every-
is sold out.
Yeah, it was all sold out because everybody in Orlando is allowed to still party. But going forward, we then had the U.S. champion Bobby Lashley against the Intercontinental champion Sami Zayn. And I think this match went about, 6.5 minutes longer than I expected. This match went 7 minutes and 45 seconds. I expected this match to go like 90 seconds. I thought Sami was going to go in there, run his mouth, Bobby run him over, and pin him in less than 2 minutes. But no. This match went, Lashley took 90% of this match and beat the crap out of Sami Zayn the whole time, but it was just like, why did this match need to go this long? Were they trying to stretch for time? I mean, there's not much to talk about here. Zayn tried to tempt the Hurt Business early to attack him so Lashley would get disqualified, but it didn't happen. At one point, he got in Shelton Benjamin's face and was just like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? He even tripped over MVP's foot, but the referee wasn't buying it. He got one near fall on a schoolboy before tapping out to the hurt lock. That was it. Nothing else happened in this match. You got any thoughts on Lashley versus Zayn?
You know what? I was the guy who said I think Sami Zayn was actually going to win. I thought he was going to pull out some ridiculous cheat victory or a roll up or something that maybe would have cost Lashley, at the last second. I did like that they did a callback to the Vertigo spot when they were feuding in 2018.
Yes, I forgot about that.
Was cute. Very funny. And you know what? I actually like that Sami spent the entirety of the match protecting his neck and keeping his back away from Lashley because he knew that he was going to get caught in the hurt lock if he wasn't careful. And then MVP was the one who took advantage of that when they did the finish with the trip, and then Sami protesting, and then MVP tossing him back into the ring, and then having his back to Lashley. It was the perfect time for Lashley to hit that hurt lock and get the victory. And I was crying inside.
So going forward, Jimmy Uso was with Jey Uso outside of Roman Reigns' locker room. Reigns wasn't happy that Jey lost earlier in the night. Jimmy defended him by saying it was 5 against 1. Reigns didn't care about that and told him to leave. And he did. So we thought. Reigns basically said that Jey let him down and he didn't have time for losers. So next up, we had the SmackDown Women's Champion Sasha Banks taking on the Raw Women's Champion Asuka. This match went roughly 13 minutes. And I liked the match. It was really good. I think this might have been the best Sasha Banks Asuka match of this year. I don't know if you maybe thought a different one was better, but I thought this was the best one that they've had. And was this the third one they've had this year?
Oh, we talked about this on our prediction show. I can't remember, but the entire summer was the summer of Asuka and Sasha
I
and
could look
Bailey
it
as
up
well.
really fast.
And then Kyrie.
Right?
Remember
Let's
Kyrie
see.
Sane, kids?
Sasha Banks, Asuka. They've fought. I got it right here. It was boom, 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 boom. One. Maybe it was. Yeah, maybe this was the third one. Two. So they had the Extreme Rules match. They had
The match at SummerSlam.
the SummerSlam match. So I got that SummerSlam. So yeah, it was just those two. So this was the. Yes, it was the third one. No. Fourth one. Because I forgot about the Lumberjack match they had on Raw.
Oh, yeah. That was the match to actually determine who was the champion.
Right.
Yeah.
So this was the fourth Sasha Banks Asuka match. There we go. I forgot about that Lumberjack match. It was a very forgettable match.
Yeah. To say the least.
But going forward with this match, I thought this match was really good. These two work well together. And like I said, I thought this was the best Sasha Banks Asuka match so far this year. Banks was in control early and hit a backstabber a few minutes into the match. Asuka came back with some kicks, running hip attack, and a shining wizard. Asuka used the yes kicks, but Banks ducked one of them and applied an abdominal stretch. They traded moves until Asuka knocked Banks off of the apron with a hip attack. Banks tried a Meteora off the barricade, but Asuka caught her with a code breaker. Banks avoided another hip attack and followed this up with a kick to the head and a backstabber for a near fall. Banks at one point hit double knee strikes in the corner and applied a crossface. Asuka tried reversing it into an Asuka lock, but Banks slipped out. Asuka followed with another code breaker for a near fall. They traded roll-ups for a series of twos. Asuka kicked Banks in the head at one point, but Asuka was perhaps going for another Shining Wizard, and Banks caught her with a roll-up to pick up the victory, kind of like a flash quick win out of nowhere to keep both women still looking good. Even though Asuka lost, she still was going for a big move, got caught. There you go. One with the roll-up, Sasha Banks. And I said it in my predictions. I felt Sasha should win because she needs the win more than Asuka. Asuka can lose and still be perfectly fine.
Yeah, 100%. There was no reason that Sasha wouldn't have won this match. She's on the ascent right now. And Sasha is on the ascent. Asuka is not, anywhere right now. She doesn't have a challenger. And I think tomorrow night, I've been hinting at it, there is a certain tall, blonde, former NXT Women's Champion who will come after her. Which one that is, you'll have to figure out tomorrow night.
If she's cleared to go, though. She might not be cleared from what I heard, she might not be cleared, which is why we didn't see her tonight.
There are two of them.
Oh, you're not wrong. I didn't think about the other one.
That's
I didn't
right.
think about the other one.
Line of the night for me was as Sasha was coming out, Corey Graves being asked how much Michael Cole paid him to say it's boss time, and Corey Graves saying $50.
That's funny. I didn't catch that.
It was just as she's coming down. I had a good laugh about that. And this is when I started to really get into the whole, these matches are meaningless and I can't get into it. And these two fought all summer, but they found a way to tell a completely different story than the matches they've already had. And that's huge. Not everyone can do that. If that is a true professional who loves professional wrestling and loves performing. Because if you're on the house show loop, there are some wrestlers who would phone it in every single night, one match, one style, maybe the finish changes a little bit in the middle, whatever. But no, these two decided to have a completely different match every time that they've gone together. That double knee spot from Asuka on the outside was brutal, and it was very well done. What I didn't like was the countout spot that came afterwards. I have a big problem with anybody staying on the outside while the referee counts to 10 and they're doing nothing until the 8 count. Once they get to 8, suddenly they're stirring up. Oh my God, I have to get in the ring. I understand it, but it's time to stir a little bit before that. Maybe start stirring at 5 or 6 and then gradually get up and then realize, I have to get in before 10. It doesn't make sense when you do everything within that 2-second 8 to 10 count.
Very, very true. But then, Joel, we moved into something that did have stakes, that did matter. In the back, the gobbledygooker, the current 24/7 champion at the time, was distracted by Birdseed. So Tozawa put him in a schoolboy to win the 24/7 title. Truth would then appear, pin Tozawa, and win the title. I swear to God, I'm pretty sure if I heard this right, Truth is a 54 or 55 time 24/7 champion. I mean, I don't even think anybody held the hardcore title that many times back in the late 90s, early 2000s. But hey,
Raven has the record.
hey, something with stakes and something that technically mattered. 24/7 title. Who would have thought that the one thing on a pay-per-view that actually mattered was the 24/7 title?
And again, the gobbledygooker couldn't keep his shoe on. He lost his foot. It was fun. It's silly. And you know what? I love that they incorporated the gobbledygooker.
Me too.
Because it's his 30-year anniversary as well. But yeah, that was just, yeah.
Great
I'm
callback.
telling you, they keep bringing on these commemorative replica titles for anyone who retires or has a big run. And they just did one for The Undertaker with that old Winged Eagle belt. And it has the really cool ornate Taker stuff on it. They're going to do the same for R-Truth when he retires. It's going to be the 24/7 title, but it's going to be like all decked out in R-Truth stuff. And it's going to be like $247 to commemorate the amount of times he also held that championship.
You know that's going to be a special belt that says 24/7, 48/7, 7-Eleven, I-95 South on the belt. It's going to say it.
Yeah, all over. It's going to be amazing. And I'm going to buy it. I'm not going to buy it.
So next up, we had the women's elimination match. And let me check something really fast. This may have been... How long did the main event go? No, this was the second longest match of the night, actually, I believe. Let me check the men's elimination match. How long was that match? 18. Yes. So the women's elimination match was only about a minute shorter than the main event. And I'm like, this match didn't need to go almost 24 minutes. But it did. But again, here's the thing, though. Like I said, nothing felt extra long or dragged out to me tonight. So that's a positive, I guess. So
yeah. Did you count the entrances with your or just the bell to bell?
Bell to bell.
Okay. Good. I was gonna say that would be about 10 minutes of your time right there.
Oh yeah, no. With entrances, no, because you have entrances for every single like if you would have counted up the entrances of every match and then the Undertaker walking out, there's a quarter of your show right there.
Yeah, exactly.
But going forward in this match, basically a lot of weird things, not weird, but crazy little things happened in the first 10 minutes. And basically, shocker to me at least, Bayley was actually the first one eliminated. I did not expect to see Bayley the first one eliminated. I thought, probably be Natalya, because Natalya did the whole thing where she had to try and qualify 3 times before even making it into the match. But no, Bayley was actually the first one eliminated, and it didn't lead to nothing. If you have your biggest star in the match eliminated first, it really, at least in my opinion, should lead to something, should mean something. But going forward, like I said, Bayley was eliminated first by none other. I mean, the only other one that would have been more shocking to eliminate Bayley would have been Lana, but Peyton Royce is the one that eliminated Bayley. Like, what are we thinking? But speaking of Lana, before the match even started, Nia Jax was talking with Team Raw, and they were all in a huddle. Lana was sequestered off to the side, and she literally said, no one better tag her in. Lana's not allowed to be tagged in. And what happened during this match? Lana, after she worked a little bit, just stood on the damn steps like a statue. I don't even think I saw her blink once when she started doing that whole on the steps thing. But where was I here in my notes? Like I said, Bayley was the first eliminated. Jax tagged in and knocked over several members of Team SmackDown before Lana tagged herself in. Natalya tagged in, and Lana managed to get the advantage on Natalya. Lana wanted to tag out, but nobody would actually tag her. Jax finally tagged her, then yelled at her to stand on the steps and just stay there and pout. And she did it. She did it. Even when there was a spot when Bayley was running, like Bayley went over to her, looked at her, ran across the ring, and did a dive onto everybody else on the other side of the ring. Lana just stood there, stone face and all, didn't even move. But where were we? After Bayley was eliminated, there was a awkward spot with Peyton Royce and Natalya, where Natalya tried to put her in some sort of like a leg grapevine slip around thing, and then she tried to roll it through and it let go. So she just kicks Peyton Royce, puts her in a sharpshooter, and says, fuck it. We're just going to go with the sharpshooter. We're not getting fancy anymore. So Peyton Royce gets eliminated at roughly the 11-minute mark. Then go forward where Lacey Evans, about a minute later, not even a full minute later, would eliminate Natalya. At one point, Natalya had Baszler in the sharpshooter, but Evans gave her the woman's right and pinned her to be eliminated. Evans gave Belair a Spanish fly off the top, but Ruby Riott broke up the cover. The Riott Squad then double-teamed Jax and might have had her beat after a code breaker, but and a Riott kick, but Baszler tagged herself in. Baszler put Riott in the Karafuda clutch, but Riott rolled into the pin attempt. And then the referee wasn't counting, and then Ruby Riott, I guess, as she did the whole float over pin thing, she also choked herself out. We've seen it before, but never in this way. So I got, okay, cool. It's a little different than we've seen it before. So eventually, Ruby Riott was eliminated by Shayna Baszler at about the 16-17 minute mark. Liv Morgan would then eliminate Lacey Evans next with a crucifix bomb. Morgan went after Jax, but Jax eliminated her with a Samoan drop. Belair was then left all alone on Team SmackDown as it was Lana, Baszler, and Jax left for Raw. So Belair ran wild on Jax, but Jax gave her a power slam and a leg drop for a near fall. Belair dropkicked Jax out of the ring, but Baszler tagged herself in and Belair didn't see it. Then in a very cool spot, Belair did like a back handspring elbow thing, and as she was jumping backwards, Shayna jumped up and grabbed her right into a Karafuda clutch. This looked really cool. I thought it could have been a little bit smoother, but it was still really cool looking. And eventually, Shayna Baszler had that Karafuda clutch on. Belair got to the ropes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Referee goes, "Oh, you didn't let go? You've been disqualified." And that's when I go, they're going to do some stupid shit to get Lana in here as the last one with Bianca Belair. So Belair got to her feet and she starts fighting with Nia Jax on the outside. Jax grabbed Belair and wanted to put her through the announce table. Belair pushed her into the steel steps. Belair tossed her over the barricade but couldn't get back in the ring before the 10 count. And so, well, what happens? Both Nia and Bianca are counted out. Lana's still standing on the goddamn steps with no emotion. And then they say, "Your winner, Team Raw, and your sole survivor, Lana." I see you laughing over there. What are your thoughts on Lana, the statue of Lana, winning this match?
Okay. First, before we get to the Lana stuff, the Bayley elimination was one of two things. It was either to get a conversation like this started, like, "Oh my God, she was pinned first," and "Oh my God, what does that mean?" Or when she took that top rope superplex and almost nobody caught her and she landed basically butt first on the outside, she may have just called it and said, "I don't care who, but someone pin me, get me out of here," because she was injured. There's been no one said anything officially, but that's just one of the ways that I read it, is that maybe she just called an audible and said, "Get me out of here." But with Lana, listen, I've been saying this since August. Y'all need to listen. This was the beginning of a huge angle for Lana to be the up-and-coming underdog babyface. And that's what they're going to do. And now the story is going to be, remember WrestleMania 34 when it was Alexa Bliss versus Nia Jax?
Right.
And Nia Jax was being bullied because she's the big girl and nobody likes big girls and nobody thinks they're popular. And Alexa Bliss was like the beautiful she was the beautiful, like, beautiful girl that everyone wants to be with. Yeah, she was the mean girl. And then Nia wins the match and is overcome with emotion because guess what? The big babyface overcomes the odds and gets one over on the popular pretty girl. We're doing this the same thing, but this time Nia's the bad one and Lana's the good one. It's going to be the same thing. And there's probably going to be a tables match at TLC. Sorry for the spoilers, folks. You're going to get it. The match was fine. The ending was somebody's really funny joke at the creative table that somehow made it to Vince McMahon. And he's like, "God damn, I love it. Let's do it." And next thing you knew, you had Lana as the sole survivor, which we all knew was coming. How they were going to get there, the only way they could do it and make sense of it without making everyone look dumb or at least be, pinned and submitted, whatever, was to do it the way they did it. So
true.
I didn't hate the ending. I laughed more than I enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of laughing, I did like when Peyton Royce hits a tarantula and Graves says that it's a perfect 10 tarantula.
I didn't catch that.
For those outside the know, Peyton Royce's hubby is a certain Sean Spears,
right?
A former perfect 10. And yeah, the Spanish Fly from Lacey Evans to Bianca Belair looked good, but that setup took a long
Yes,
time.
it did.
I wasn't huge. Yeah, I get it. You got to do it safely. 100%. Do not, rush into it, especially for a move like that. But if you're going to do it for real, you got to make sure you get the timing right. There was a lot of just posturing, trying to make sure that your footing was right. And then they hit it and it looked good. But that was weird. There was good teamwork, good tag team teamwork from the Riot Squad on Nia, and the Karafuda clutch moment that you mentioned. That was excellent. So we'll see. Bianca's a huge star. That was an amazing moment for her. We all saw it coming. So now we just need a full-on feud, and I really hope it's Bayley. That's who I want her to go first.
Very true. Next, we got the announcement that TLC will be on December 20th, and it will be in the new WWE Thunderdome inside Tropicana Field. I believe they officially moved to Tropicana Field on Friday, December 11th. Yep. SmackDown getting all these first. They got first night of the draft, first night of the Thunderdome, first night of the new Thunderdome. Well, yeah, they got first night of the current Thunderdome too, before Survivor Series or SummerSlam. SmackDown getting all that new shiny stuff first.
Get you a channel that'll pay you $1 billion for content.
Right.
And you get all the firsts.
So next up, we had our main event match. Not our main event segment of the show, but our main event match. It was Universal Champion Roman Reigns against the WWE Champion Drew McIntyre. I thought these guys were basically going out there and saying, hey, we're going to prove who's the best. We're going to beat the crap out of each other. We're going to take all these shots. We're not going to hold anything back. And this is going to look, and it did look like a fight. Like this looked like two guys that were going out there to show that they can throw hands. And more than just a pro wrestling match, two guys that wanted to prove something and have a fight. That's how I saw this match as.
It was a good match. It was exactly as it was. It was a heavyweight match, which I liked. It wasn't too much flip, flop, and fly. There was just a lot of it started off really plotting. I was bored, and then they picked it up, and I was really invested. And when we got to the middle and end, though, I was into it. No, I get it. I do.
It started off kind of like, okay, yeah, these guys are doing some big guy stuff, but then eventually they ramped it up slowly, and it wasn't just like they tried to get everything done early. It was they slowly ramped up and built to what they were getting to. So to quickly recap this match, they exchanged some holds early, and McIntyre knocked Reigns down with a big shoulder block, which sent him out of the ring, and he regrouped. McIntyre used chops, but Reigns came back with fists. McIntyre fought back momentarily, but Reigns posted him. At one point, McIntyre came back with some clotheslines, an overhead suplex, neck breaker, and Reigns blocked a Future Shock DDT attempt and hit a Samoan drop for a 2. McIntyre blocked a Superman punch and hit a spine buster for a 2. McIntyre tossed Reigns into the post and the steel steps, but Reigns knocked him down as he re-entered the ring. Reigns would then taunt Drew McIntyre. McIntyre headbutted him, and they exchanged big boots. McIntyre ducked a Superman punch and finally did get that Future Shock DDT for a near fall. McIntyre went for a Claymore, but Reigns hit him with a Superman punch. Reigns then tried a guillotine, but McIntyre suplexed him. Reigns then booted McIntyre before tossing him shoulder first into the post. McIntyre countered a spear attempt into a Kimura, but Reigns got a rope break, and I like that. It's something different from Drew McIntyre. I don't think he may have done a Kimura before, but I don't remember ever seeing him try to do a Kimura, so I loved that they were trying new things here, both guys actually. McIntyre went after Reigns on the outside, but Reigns gave him a Samoan drop on the announce table, which didn't break. Reigns gave him a second Samoan drop through the table. Reigns broke the ref's count before spearing McIntyre through the barricade behind the broken announce table. Reigns then pushed McIntyre into the ring for a cover, but he kicked out. Reigns tried a spear, but McIntyre kicked him. Reigns bounced back and hit the spear anyway, so I don't know why they needed to stop it the first time. He got a close near fall. Reigns went for another spear, but ran into a Claymore kick. Reigns fell back into the ref, who fell out of the ring. This then prompted Jey Uso to run down, who was earlier told to go home. So it's going to play into something probably next Friday on SmackDown. But Jey ran down. McIntyre immediately knocked him off the apron. Reigns gave McIntyre a low blow, and Jey hit a super kick. Reigns followed this up with a Superman punch and applied the guillotine. A new referee would run down, and McIntyre got to his feet with the guillotine still on by Roman Reigns. Eventually, Roman Reigns was just too much for Drew McIntyre as he passed out from the guillotine, and the referee had to call Roman Reigns the winner because McIntyre could not continue. So, like Joel said, the match started slow, but it really built up to some really cool spots, like, the table spot breaking, to the spear through the barricade and whatnot. And again, it's building up that, yes, Jey Uso is quote-unquote Roman's army member. What are you going? I don't know, family guy that does what he says. He's controlled by Reigns, but at the same time, still a little bit thinks for himself in a way. Because even though he's told to do one thing, he still thinks maybe I need to do something to help, even though I'm not asked to help. So I hope this doesn't lead to another Roman Reigns Jey Uso match. That's what I don't want to see. As TLC.
No, I don't see it's that.
Yeah, I hope this doesn't go. Roman come out and go, Jey, you need to be taught a lesson. You can't listen. Well, I'll beat that listening into you. I can totally see something like that where he's like, you need to take another beating before you can listen again. I so hope we don't get another Roman Reigns Jey Uso match, because the last two were so good that doing more is just kind of going to water it down.
Yeah, so my reasoning for them not doing that is mostly because while Jey, the whole tongue lashing that Jey was given by Roman was based in you failed and you couldn't keep your team together, and therefore you are not going to be part of this family. You have to do better. So for Jey to go out, think about it, and then come back during that main event to basically make good for his family. And then at the end of the match, Roman kind of humming and hawing and then finally embracing Jey. It showed that Roman saw that he did it for the family and he didn't screw it up.
Right.
So I saw it coming. I wasn't surprised, but I also wasn't upset about knowing that. Sometimes it's fun to know that it's going to happen. I will say this though. There was a lot of Brock talk early in the match. Did you catch that? I did
realize that, yes.
And who uses the Kimura lock?
Oh man, I didn't put that together though. I didn't think about that one.
Yeah, so I'm thinking there's some talk going on, getting Brock, maybe getting his ears, ready to go back. I mean, we're gonna find out
on Raw. Other than Sheamus maybe going after Drew McIntyre for the title, who else is there that's really in that position? Brock's the kind of guy that doesn't need to be built into a position. He could just show up and be in the position. So it's like there's really nobody else. Sheamus is kind of there because he's been buddying up to Drew McIntyre. We know it's going to come eventually. He's going to try and go after him, but I didn't put two and two together with the Kimura thing. That's a good little tie there. I didn't think about that.
We're going to see, and it could also just be that Drew was playing the role of Brock to come back and take on Roman Reigns. And then we have the Paul Heyman edition. Who's Paul Heyman a fan of? Maybe is Brock ready to lay down himself and let Roman be the tribal chief of more than just his own family? It can go either way. I like either Drew or Roman having the Brock match. But right now it's just there was enough Brock talk for me to start wondering, when is Brock coming back? Maybe is it going to be a Rumble appearance? Is it going to be something else? I would love to see Brock in the Elimination Chamber. That would be something cool. But I guess we're going to find out. And the Drew reversing the guillotine, by the way, with that throw was just excellent. Little things like that just make me love this match. And
going back to your Brock thing, if I was saying, I'd like to be either one, it would make sense for either guy to face Brock Lesnar too, because Roman's got Paul Heyman with him, so we could see that either being Brock's mad that Paul's now with Heyman, or it's all been that Heyman's going to screw Roman in the end for Brock. But at the same time, you go to Drew McIntyre, that's the guy that took the title from Brock at WrestleMania. We haven't seen Brock since. Yep. So it would make sense for Brock to face either guy. It's built in either way you go. But then
I know there's talk about Brock not coming back unless there's a crowd. And you know what? Too. We could have a crowd at Mania, but also money talks.
Oh yeah,
money will bring anyone back. Just ask Shawn Michaels.
If Vince sees that Raw number keep going down, he's gonna be like, we need Brock. We need somebody
in case of emergency.
That's right. I've heard they're talking with Ronda. Paul Heyman even alluded to it recently, saying, "Hey, they may be trying to keep Ronda longer than she's already scheduled to be in this company." So,
Ronda and Charlotte had to go around on Twitter a couple of days ago.
Okay, so I didn't see that.
There could be something. Charlotte basically said the night that those two faced off at Survivor Series in 2018 was the night that Ronda Rousey lost her passion for pro wrestling. that's a shot you don't normally take.
Exactly. So with that, we go forward into a interesting segment that was kind of weird in the way that they did it. It was the Undertaker's final farewell. So they say, and now we are going to introduce everybody here to celebrate the Undertaker. We got Shane McMahon, Big Show, JBL, Jeff Hardy, Mick Foley, Godfather, the Godwins, Savio Vega, Rikishi, Kevin Nash, who had the NWO theme when he came out, Booker T, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, Triple H, Kane in the Kane attire. They all shook hands in the ring and then disappeared. I expected this to be basically the Ric Flair retirement segment after WrestleMania 24. He comes down, gets to thank all those guys for being part of his career, blah, 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 blah. And then we hear, now we would like to welcome, well, they played a cool video package first, and then they said, we would like to welcome the chairman of the board, Vince McMahon. So Vince is in the ring all by himself, nobody there. And he's talking about The Undertaker. He says The Undertaker's run goes all the way back to WWF. He actually said the F. He said, and now WWE. Vince said Undertaker's legacy will live on eternally. And then he introduced, well, The Undertaker. My first question was, are we getting Taker or are we getting Mark Calloway? We got Undertaker. Taker came out, full Undertaker gear, full Undertaker entrance, full 5 minutes of walking down to the ring. I don't think it was really that long, but it felt like it. Instead of climbing in the ring steps, a platform raised him over the ring level. Once he hit the ring, he seemed to be soaking it all in, even though there was no real crowd there. He was still trying to soak in the moment. And Undertaker chants were piped into the building, which is funny because if you're in that building, you actually don't hear it. So it's piped in to us. Undertaker then spoke. He used the Undertaker voice and everything. He said, where was it? He said that he laid many souls to rest, but his time has come. We then heard thank you, Taker chants. And after all the interviews and stuff he's been doing, I really wish he would have said a little bit more on Survivor Series instead of just the whole Undertaker spiel, got to get a couple lines out that fits the character. I really wish he would have said a little more. But then he did he said rest in peace at the end, did his Undertaker pose. We heard the pallbearer, oh yes, at the very end. More Undertaker chants. And then Taker soaked it in again, remaining in the ring as he posed as a single spotlight shone down on him. He got to his feet, did the throat slash, his music played, left the ring, and the show went off the air. Kind of weird that everyone just walked down to the ring only to disappear, which leads me to ask the question of, did they come down to the ring and then they cut to some pre-taped thing? I don't know.
I'm 99% sure that's what they did. I really am.
It was so weird because also, and I could be wrong on this and I just wasn't paying enough attention. When Undertaker came out, there were like these like fire lines on either side of the entrance. There's like 3 or 4 on each side. There was like fire just coming up on these like wooden planks. But when like Triple H and all them came out, I didn't notice those on the side. So it's like Undertaker's entrance thing, and I can go back on the WWE Network right now and check, and maybe I'm just wasn't paying enough attention. But it did seem like the stuff that was there for Undertaker's entrance wasn't there when the other guys were coming out. I'm going to rewind and go back and check. But
are you talking about the Tesla coils?
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah, they were there the whole time.
Were they? Okay, maybe I just wasn't paying enough attention.
Too. I think they were there the entire night, or at least for the last couple of matches.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Yeah, because I got it up right here. See, Big Show walking out. Let's see. It's kind of hard to tell because when the other guys were coming out, it was either a super wide shot or close up on them.
You know where I saw it really clearly, I think, was during the Sami versus Bobby match when Sami gets tripped up.
So I might be thinking of something different, actually, not the Tesla coils. Let me fast forward because I noticed it a lot after Taker's deal. Yeah, it was... Okay, and they might have been there the whole time. They were just probably hard to see when they weren't lit up. But they were like behind the Tesla coils and more off to the side. Okay.
Got it.
But regardless, it was a cool little moment. They say Undertaker's never going to do anything again. He signed to the company for another 15 years, so we'll see what that really means. And Bruce Pritchard said on the bump that Undertaker could probably still sell sell tickets and rile up a crowd till he's 75 years old. But what did you think of this Undertaker segment?
All right.
Uh-oh.
I liked it. I didn't hate it. I liked it. First of all, Kane coming down in full gimmick when no one else did, phenomenal. Someone actually took the time to tell Glenn Jacobs, hey, we're all going to come down dressed up as our characters.
You think they ribbed him?
I think they ribbed him. I don't know. I don't actually think so. I think more that was Glenn Jacobs trying to be respectful to the gimmick of Kane because it was fun. But he was the only one. Also, where was Maven? If they're going to bring out Jeff Hardy,
Lord.
then why wouldn't they bring out Maven, who was made a big star in that Royal Rumble spot and then the match that came after? Come on. Maven was just on the bump. You could have done it, but you didn't.
One thing I do want to mention, which is actually funny. So Kevin Nash comes out, and Michael Cole says that Kevin Nash was one of Undertaker's WrestleMania victims at WrestleMania 12. And Corey Graves goes, you might be wrong there, Cole. It may have been WrestleMania 10 or 11. And then we go on with more guys coming out, and Corey Graves goes, Michael Cole, I got to say, you were right. It was WrestleMania 12. Twitter got me.
As it should.
I was like, oh, there we go. I thought that was pretty funny. But, well,
Vince had to have pre-taped those comments.
It had to have been. Because it was just so weird that, like, when Vince was out there, it was just like they played that video package. Vince is out there, and they're very close up on Vince. So, like, you would think maybe everyone just got out of the ring. But the Undertaker comes out, and no one's there. They're gone.
Yeah.
So it's just like
empty.
Why? That was just awkward. Well, I don't know if awkward is the right word to use, but just very weird. And now it's got people talking about the segment in a way that they didn't want people to talk about the segment, probably.
Listen, it's better than the talk that everyone had before that, which was who's going to come out and interrupt and set up a Mania match for Taker.
Right.
And I'm glad that it's not that, because I don't want to see another week of Undertaker retirement.
Honestly,
conversation.
I was expecting that till the show faded to black, because how long after Undertaker did his little promo that he stood around? I was just like, he's waiting for someone to come out. He's waiting, and no one came out. I was honestly more shocked that no one came out than, it
would have been so awkward.
I'm going to say it. I was actually more shocked that nobody came out to like try to challenge him or something.
Yeah, and you know what? Could he have another match? Sure. And will he? I guarantee you, when they go back to Saudi Arabia, he's going to be in a match. It's inevitable. He needs more money. That's just what it is. There's the little Tesla coil theme that was going on. I'm 99% sure it was played on what's called a stylophone. It's like an electronic kind of synth, but it's tiny, and it's literally like you can put it in the palm of your hand, and it has like a stylograph, and you play the notes on it.
Okay.
It's really cool. But if you go and check it out, someone's done Metallica covers with stylophones.
Nice.
But yeah, it looked really cool. It hurt the hell out of my ears when I was listening on headphones.
Same here.
People who were in Thunderdome were saying it was like way too loud and just like sharp sounds in their ears. But it was a nice little touch to a 30-year career, unlike any other. I mean, Undertaker really, he was my favorite wrestler growing up. Unfortunately, with the stuff I've seen ever since then, and some of the attire he's chosen to wear to show his allegiances to certain groups that I don't agree with and certain beliefs that I don't hold, that's kind of put a damper on the Undertaker's legacy for me. And I also don't necessarily believe in having to separate the man from the character. The man playing the character is still the man at the end of the day, and he's still getting the same money. The character's not getting the money and then putting it aside for someone else. No, it's still the same guy. So great career. I can watch the matches and appreciate the matches, but I really have nothing else for The Undertaker at this point. I almost expected him to go into the ring tonight and just be like, I have 30 cameos to do, and I'm going to do them in the ring for you right now. And then pull out a cell phone and just say, hello, Chelsea. This is The Undertaker. We're live. And do the eyes and the thing.
Hey,
but
he's on Cameo for a limited amount of time.
It's sold out.
Already?
All 30. Oh yeah, they were done on Friday.
Really paid that?
I'm gonna leave my
son of a gun. But with that, as we wrap things up, we got a couple questions from the text message line. If you want to be part of tonight's show, you can do so by texting in to 510-906-1341. Again, that number is 510-906-1341. First question here: who do you think or who do you see challenging Street Profits next? Personally, I wouldn't mind Rude and Ziggler. So the Mysterios and Dominic and Murphy can beat Rude and Ziggler for the titles. We already saw Ziggler and Rude, in my opinion. I don't think we should, since we already saw it on that first night after the draft. They got their tag title match on that Raw against the New Day. Then we go over to SmackDown. They got their SmackDown tag team title shot against Street Profits. Lost both of them. Move on. And when you look at tag teams on SmackDown, to be honest, I don't really see any other tag teams, though, other than like Murphy and one Mysterio and Rude and Ziggler. Like, what other tag teams are on SmackDown?
Yeah, I'm kind of racking my brains trying to think who else could do it. They're going to have to put together a tag team.
Exactly.
What are you going to do? Baron Corbin and Sami Zayn?
And I mean, Raw's the same way, to be honest. I can't think of any tag teams on Raw that can challenge the New Day.
Oh, God, same thing.
It's like you've got those women's titles that can go either brand. Please just make the men's title the same thing. The men's tag titles should be just merged together. It would be so much better. Then you've got so many different options. I don't know.
And for a guy like Vince McMahon, who often does not care for tag team wrestling, that's the perfect excuse. Everyone's in house. Just have all the tag teams on either all on one show, make them exclusive to Raw because it's a 3-hour show, or have them on both brands and have the champions cross over. But you're seeing it with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler right now. They're not doing anything with them on other shows. They're not showing up on SmackDown, even though they could. They didn't even show up during the Survivor Series build. So it's just disjointed. Which
I wished they would have maybe done a little more with the Riot Squad and either Nia or Shayna to kind of be like, all right, now Shayna and Nia are mad at the Riot Squad. They need to go to SmackDown. I thought they should have done something like that.
You could potentially, for SmackDown, for the tag team champions, maybe bring back the Forgotten Sons, maybe, but without Jackson Riker because of his issues. But it's after November 4th, so maybe they'll bring them back. But yeah, the Forgotten Sons are probably one of the teams I'd talk about bringing back.
So going forward, next question we got here, more of a comment. It says, Survivor Series was great. The only thing I didn't like about the show was the Seth Rollins part with the men's Survivor Series match. Also, another question, where do you think they're going to do War Games? Will they do it at the PC or somewhere else? And I mean, if they don't want to have any kind of a crowd, they can fit 2 rings in there if they really wanted to. Because, I mean, normally there's like four rings inside the Performance Center anyways when they're training. But then if they do that with the cage and everything, they probably won't be able to have a crowd. I mean, honestly, if they wanted to, I believe they have the Thunderdome and Amway Center. Well, no, that wouldn't work. I would say film it like the night after that last NXT, but by then they'll be tearing it down because they need it out of there by that weekend, I think. So
yeah,
I think maybe they just try to fit it in the Performance Center and see where they go from there. I honestly don't know. I haven't heard anything either way as far as where they would do that War Games match.
So it'll probably be at the Capitol Wrestling Center.
Yeah.
You can put the 2 rings side by side. If you look at the layout, you've got the entranceway and then goes down to the ring. And then if you go past the ring, normally there's like plexiglass or another like station for fans. So if you get rid of that area, there's a big stage and another LED board. You take it down, you can put another ring.
True.
And then in terms of putting the cage together, I think honestly, they're going to have to bring in the team to just assemble the cage, and it'll just be an open top cage.
Yeah.
Which is, I think it was last year as well, was open top. So you can do it. It'll be tight though. It'll be a really classic style War Games match.
It may have been 2 years, the last 2 years, because there was the one year when Ricochet did the 630 off the top. So it was the last 2 years there was no top.
So I guess the entire NXT War Games cage has been open top.
Yeah.
So and you can do it. It's not impossible.
Last one we have here, someone says, who was that certain blonde that Joel was trying to reference to other than Rhea Ripley?
Bow down. Hashtag bow down.
But with that, I want to say thank you guys for joining us here, both on Twitch and on YouTube, for as we talked about Survivor Series. We will be live again tomorrow night for Monday Night Raw. So with that, guys, have a great, great night. Thank you again for being here. Thank you, Joel, for being here. Where can they find you?
You can find me all over the internet at Joel Pearl, JoelPearl. You can also find me as one half of Tim and Joel Pod. That's Tim and Joel Call It in the Ring. That's the show I do with my co-host every single Thursday night at 8 p.m. on YouTube. If you go to timandjoelpod.com, it'll take you straight to our YouTube page where you can subscribe, We're trying to get a push so that we can finally get to not only monetization, but also we need to change our damn link. So go help us out, man. Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'd love to see you in our chat. We are active, and we'd love to see you there.
All right, I want to say thank you again to Joel for joining me here tonight. Thank you guys for watching us for the last hour. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time. All right. For you.